Hey friends, welcome to the Time for Living podcast, your ultimate guide to finding the time you need to crush your business dreams while still having time to live your one beautiful life. I'm your host, Lucy Clark, a devoted boy mum, dedicated business owner and time-finding expert. Say goodbye to the I'm too busy mindset that's holding you back from growing your online business. No more feeling overwhelmed or stuck in the same place year after year. Each week, we'll dive deep into strategies for being intentional with your precious time so you can hit those business goals while still making time for yourself and your family. If you're ready to create more time, get practical tips and prioritize the steps that will make the biggest impact on your business and life, then you're in the right spot. Pop in your earbuds, steal a quiet moment, and let's find time together. Let me ask you something. How many times this week have you put someone else's needs before your own? Maybe you've cleared your calendar for a last-minute request at work, or you said yes to another commitment even though your plate was already overflowing. And then, maybe an hour later, you realized, oh no, it's happened again. That moment when you wonder, why does everyone else get to decide how my time is spent? Here's the truth. You can take control, not by working harder, not by squeezing more into your day, but by setting boundaries that actually stick. The kind that don't just protect your time, they give you the freedom to focus on what matters most. I've been there too. The exhaustion, the guilt, the feeling like you're constantly giving away pieces of yourself. But here's what I've learned. Boundaries aren't about shutting people out. They're about making space for the life you want to live. In this episode, I'm sharing a simple 3-step framework to help you reclaim your time without burning out. No guilt, no overwhelm, just practical steps you can start using today. So let's talk about how to build boundaries that work, starting right now. In order to build boundaries, we have to understand the boundary time freedom connection. To illustrate this, let's start with a hard truth. You could have the most color-coded calendar, the most detailed to-do list, the most optimized morning routine, but if you don't have boundaries, none of it will give you true time freedom. I used to think productivity was about doing more in less time. If I could just find the perfect planner, wake up earlier, or hack my focus, I'd finally feel in control. But here's what I learned the hard way. Without boundaries, you're just reorganizing the chaos. So we do have to myth bust the lie we've been sold about time management, that it's all about how to squeeze as much as humanly possible into our already packed schedule. But instead, we should be thinking about intentionally protecting the time and energy we need to focus on what truly matters. Think about it. Every time you say yes to something that doesn't align with your priorities, you're not just giving away an hour, you're giving away so much more. Your energy, focus, and peace of mind. And for high achievers like you, this hits even harder. You're used to pushing through, powering past exhaustion, and wearing busy like a badge of honor. But here's the shift we need to make. Busyness isn't productivity. It's just noise. Real-time freedom comes when you stop letting other people's emergencies dictate your days and you start showing up for yourself. I see this all the time with my clients. They're so used to over-delivering that they've wired their brains to equate being needed with being successful. But here's the thing. You don't have to earn the right to protect your time. You don't have to justify setting limits. But we do have to start saying no. And there is a science to saying no. And it isn't just motivational talk. It's backed by research. Studies have shown that setting clear boundaries reduce decision fatigue by 40%. That's 40% less mental energy spent agonizing over whether to say yes or no, 40% less guilt when you protect your time, and 40% more capacity to focus on what moves you forward. Imagine what you could do with that kind of clarity. Instead of starting your day wondering which way to begin, you'd have the mental space to tackle your biggest goals. Instead of being pulled in 10 different directions, you'd move through your priorities with intention. So boundaries aren't a luxury. They're the bridge between where you are now and the life you actually want. One where you have the space to breathe, to create, to show up as your best self, not just at work, but for the people and projects that light you up. So this is the turning point, and I'd like to tell you about one of my clients, a high-achieving professional. Let's call her Sarah. I'm sure she wouldn't mind, who's juggling it all, managing a team, volunteering, parenting 2 kids, and trying to launch a side business. On the surface, she was a picture of success, but beneath that facade, she was drowning. Constant exhaustion and perpetual busyness had become her norm. When Sarah and I started working together, we didn't dive into another productivity hack or time management trick. Instead, we focused on something more fundamental: boundaries. We began by identifying where she was leaking energy, those countless yeses to non-essential meetings, last-minute requests that weren't hers to solve, and the constant firefighting that wasn't her responsibility. As we worked together, we uncovered that Sarah wasn't lacking time. She was leaking energy in dozens of tiny ways. Every unnecessary meeting, every non-essential task, and every fire she didn't need to fight was draining her. That's when we implemented the 3-step boundary framework, a strategic approach to reclaiming time and energy. Sarah learned to say no to meetings that could have been emails, stop taking on last-minute urgent requests, and block time for deep focus work. She guarded this time fiercely, knowing it was crucial for her career and well-being. Within a month, something remarkable happened. Sarah wasn't just getting more done, she was present for the first time in years. She had the energy for her kids in the evening, and her business finally started moving forward. This transformation wasn't just about productivity. It was about creating a life that truly mattered to her. Boundaries weren't the walls to keep people out, they were the foundation for the life Sarah was trying to build. And the 3-step boundary framework that I talk about isn't about overhauling your life overnight. It's about small, intentional shifts that add up to massive freedom. And now I'll walk you through exactly how to build these boundaries with 3 simple steps you can put into practice today. The first step is the 48-hour energy audit. For the next 2 days, I want you to do something radical. Track every single yes. Carry a notebook or use your phone notes every time you agree to something, whether it's a meeting, a favor, or even reading that non-urgent email. Jot it down. Then ask yourself, does this directly align with my top priorities? Sarah did this exercise and made a shocking discovery. She was spending 5 hours a week in meetings where her presence wasn't essential. 5 hours. That's an entire workday spent on autopilot. Here's your quick win. After your audit, choose one reoccurring energy leak to eliminate this week. Maybe it's that standing check-in, that could be an email, or always being the first to volunteer for certain tasks. Step 2 is the script and switch step. Now here's where most high achievers get stuck. You know what to say no to, but how do you actually say it without feeling guilty? Here are 3 responses you can customize. The first one, the redirect. It goes, I'd love to help, but my plate is full until, and then say a date. Could we revisit this then? The second one is the trade-off. If I take this on, I'll need to deprioritize Project X. Which would you prefer I focus on? And the third one is the bridge. I'm not the best person for this, but let me connect you with ex-colleague who might be. Those are 3 script and switch responses. Now let's look at a boundary in action using prioritization. Imagine a marketing manager who has carefully mapped out their top priorities for the quarter. They've identified 3 key projects that will drive the most impact for their team and organization. Launching a new campaign, developing their team's skills, and hitting aggressive revenue targets. These priorities serve as a clear boundary, giving every decision about where to allocate their time and energy. When a colleague approaches them with a request to help organize a cross-departmental workshop, the manager is prepared on how to respond thoughtfully. While the workshop is valuable, it doesn't align with their core priorities. Here's how they might handle the request. Thank you for thinking of me for this project. I appreciate your trust in my abilities. However, I've committed to focusing on our campaign launch, team development, and revenue targets this quarter. These are my top priorities, and I need to ensure I deliver on them. Let me see if I can connect you with someone else who might have the capacity to help, or we can brainstorm other resources that could support you. By setting this boundary, the manager isn't being unhelpful. They're simply prioritizing what truly matters. This approach not only maintains respectful relationships, but also ensures they're focusing on the goals that drive their success. By honoring these priorities, they create space for what truly drives their progress and well-being. This proactive boundary setting transforms their work from reactive to strategic, allowing them to achieve more by focusing on less. You can use this example as a roadmap on how to start to build your own boundaries. And I know some of you might be thinking, this sounds great in theory, but how do I actually handle it when someone pushes back? Maybe it's a disappointed colleague, a frustrated friend, or even your own inner voice whispering, you're being selfish. Here's the truth. Pushback doesn't mean you're doing it wrong. It often means you're doing it right, because you're finally prioritizing what matters. And while it's hard to navigate these tough conversations, here's a little rule. Boundaries aren't negotiations. You don't owe endless explanations. A simple, I understand that this might be disappointing, but this is what I need right now, honors both your limits and the relationship. Remember, the people who truly care about you will respect your boundaries, even if they need time to adjust. And let me leave this thought with you. Every time you protect your priorities, you're not saying no to someone else, you're saying yes to the life you're trying to build. And finally, step 3, which is a 10-minute reset. It's your secret weapon, your daily boundary reinforcement ritual. Every morning, before checking emails, before the chaos begins, take 10 minutes to, firstly, review your calendar like a CEO. Block time for your top priorities first. 2. Set non-negotiables. Maybe it's no calls after 6 p.m. or a lunch hour that's screen-free. Thirdly, visualize your boundaries. Picture yourself gracefully saying no to distractions. One of my clients calls this her daily force field. Those 10 minutes determine whether she controls her day or her day controls her. And remember Sarah? Within 3 weeks of using this framework, she firstly regained those 5 weekly hours. Next, delegated 30% of her urgent tasks. And finally, launched the leadership program she'd been putting off for months. And here's what I want you to take away. Boundaries aren't about building walls. They're about building space for the work that matters, the people you love, and the life you're designing. So your action step this week, start with step 1, track those yeses. I promise you'll discover pockets of time you didn't know you had. And then start small. Choose one boundary to test. Maybe it's silencing notifications after dinner or blocking 2 hours for focus work. Then celebrate the resistance. If you feel guilty saying no, good. That means you're stretching muscles you haven't used in a while. And remember your why. Every no is fuel for your most important yes. And because I know you're ready to make real change, I've put together a free resource called Taking Control of Your Time, packed with the exact tools I use with my clients to create more space, energy, and freedom in their days. It's yours for free. Just head over to timeforliving.co/taking control to grab it. And let's keep the motivation going. Next week, we're diving into a question I often hear. What does it really mean to work smarter, not harder? The answer might challenge your perspective, and it could transform the way you approach your work and life. I can't wait to share it with you. Until then, remember, your time is your life's currency. Spend it boldly. Hey friends, thank you so much for tuning in to the Time for Living podcast today. If this episode inspired you to take action and save time, I'd be so grateful if you could leave a written review and subscribe over on Apple Podcasts. Your feedback means the world to me and helps us reach even more amazing people like you. If you know a friend who needs to hear this message, share this episode with them. And remember, your time is precious, so make every moment count. Until next time, keep dreaming, keep living, and keep making time for what matters most.